Welcome to Subramani. Let us look at some of the mistakes which is possible that we do now in the pandemic. So the first one is to assume that the worst is over because the market is going up. This can be a disaster. We have no clue how India is going to fare when there is winter. Remember, the whole thing started in March. It was our worst winters, especially in North India, is January. It is or end of December, January, Feb is the worst time. We have no clue how we will perform during the time of winter. We are just about heading it, and so we will have to track the northeast because that's where winter will hit first. And then Delhi of course will have other problems of pollution and stubble burning. So that is one thing. Don't assume that the worst is over now and put all your money in equity and say, wow, this is a great opportunity. This may turn out to be a complete disaster. So keep more cash even now. Of course you should be in equity. I'm not saying you shouldn't be, but it is not an all or none game, right? Second, getting too defensive. To say, oh, Subra in his video said don't put money in equity, so I'll sell off every equity and every real estate and keep it in cash. That would again be disaster. You don't need to do that. The third, the FOMO, the problem that today everybody wants to invest abroad with the same logic and the same theories. Oh, the dollar will always appreciate against the rupee over the next 5 years, so 25% return over a 5-year period is guaranteed, and therefore blah blah blah. Remember, US had a lost decade and they had a successful decade. We are now seeing the successful decade. Maybe it's the best time to be investing in Europe. Maybe it's a good time to be investing in China, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong. You don't know. Right? So when you don't know, you go to a global equity fund and say, please allocate for me, right? So these are 2-3 things as far as investments are concerned. People adding complexity. You don't need complex products. Please don't add complexity. Fifth, look for, when you're investing in debt, look for simplicity, look for safety, liquidity, and then return, right? The SEBI is doing a lot to improve the disclosure in debt funds. However, if you don't understand debt funds, I don't blame you. Stick to liquid funds, overnight funds, ultra short bond funds, and in the best case scenario, short term bond funds. You don't need to go beyond this. Please seek your alpha in equity and go to debt products, largely looking for safety, liquidity, and then return. I don't agree with the theory. I have myself been a victim of this, that I don't like. In fact, I never sought great returns. I always thought ultra short bond funds should be ultra short bond funds. They were not true to label, and suddenly liquidity is stuck in one fund house at least. Other fund house, there is no problem as of now, but don't look for great returns in debt funds. It does not really matter. Debt funds are meant to keep your money safe. So safety, liquidity, then return. SLR, very clearly R is last. It is not RSL, right? So look for those things. Simplify your portfolio rather than complicating it. And another mistake I see is people trying to make a radical shift. Yesterday in one of the TV shows that I did was somebody said, I have a lot of gold. Can I just sell off 15 lakhs of my gold and repay my home loan? Good question, but I would never overdo anything on any side. Like if I have a 15 lakh loan and I have 15 lakhs in gold, I'm also assuming that maybe I have 15 lakhs in debt and 15 lakhs in equity. I may reallocate my assets, but not so drastically. I will not sell all my gold and repay all the loan, simply because maybe gold will go up, and today interest rates are pretty low, so and I can afford it. I have enough income to pay the EMI. Why would I do something drastic? So my advice to him was, and my advice to you is, don't make any radical shift based on what is happening now. Don't sell off all your banking and IT and say, oh, pharma is the only thing which will do well. Or sell off everything and buy gold, or sell gold saying, oh, gold at 50,000 rupees is very high, let me sell gold and do something else. Don't overdo it. Play your asset allocation properly. If you're happy with that result, or tweak it a little bit here and there. Don't go by what you see in the press, and don't get scared. right? So don't get greedy, don't get scared. Both fear and greed we have been talking about, and regret. The regret is much bigger a problem than both fear and greed. Oh, I missed Facebook, I missed the US jump, so should I put a big amount of money in the US? To me, if you ask me, it's a time, I mean, I've been in the US market now for 3.5 years, so for me it's a great time to be coming out of the US market rather than going into the US market with both my feet in, right? At best you could dip your toes, I mean, maybe get your toes wet. But maybe China is a good opportunity, maybe Japan is a good opportunity, we don't know that, so don't overdo it on either side. Next thing which is stick to your financial plan. Whatever is a financial plan, you didn't have a financial plan, please create one, because we are not investing just to say, oh, I made 100 rupees here or I made 1 crore here. It doesn't really matter. What it matters is you are going on a journey of your life where you have got married, you've got children, you've bought a house, you've got some debt, or you've repaid the debt, your children have to be educated, children's marriages, you're willing to sponsor it partially, and you have to provide for your own retirement. What we don't realize is retirement is not a plan the way people say it, it's a basket. This basket, it could include a house which you have spare, your second house, third house, whatever. You could have debt instruments, you could have NPS, you could have mutual funds, you would have annuity. All these are options which are available. Don't get carried away by saying, oh, only everything has to be in NPS, or everything has to be in mutual funds, or everything has to be annuitized. You don't have to do anything like that, right? You will keep getting rent. You will have some money in NPS. NPS is stuck because with NPS all you can do is buy an annuity. In a mutual fund you have the huge advantage of making sure that you take care of inflation. Once you annuitize your NPS, after that you have no protection against inflation. So you would still need equity exposure. Now either you could have a direct equity exposure or you could have a mutual fund equity exposure, but you need it. So think about it, write it down, plan it, sit with your spouse, make sure that she understands what you're doing, and if you're a woman, making sure that he understands what you're doing. Sit and talk about how are you going to handle problems like dementia at the age of 75. I wouldn't call that early dementia, because dementia is also hitting people who are much younger, maybe in their 50s. But at 75, if you're hit by dementia, does your wife have the right to put you in some care? Whom will you hire? What will you do? How will you simplify your accounts? How will you reduce the number of funds and schemes and bank accounts? Right? Your pension accounts are again a pain, because your pension accounts have to be held singly. So if a 87-year-old is getting a pension and her signature is not steady, how is she supposed to withdraw? Well, it's very simple. She has to go to the bank. What if she is bedridden? Well, the bank official can come, get a PSU banker to come home. It is impossible. What happens if she's in a location which is different? What happens if she's in Chennai? Her bank account is in Mumbai, and the company crediting it is a PSU or it's a government based in Delhi. How do you coordinate between all this, right? So think about all those questions, think about those answers, think who is going to handle it for you when you are unable to sign or think for yourself. Think of all those answers, write it down. That is far more important, right? Thank you.